Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about Totally Accurate Battle Simulator because I have an undying love for simulation games. I really do. So, this game is, it's a simulator, and it's a large scale battle simulator, or small scale, or whatever scale you really want to do it at. It's infinitely entertaining, completely accurate to how war was waged in history, you know, down to the way that people moved and everything, all the way down to the fact that people even had trained war mammoths and used magic and everything else. Obviously, it's totally accurate. Viking longships, those weren't for the water. Those were for people to carry and smack people with. But anyhow, the game's very, very silly. It's an early access game. Definitely an early access game. And well, it's been in development since 2016. It looks like 2019, last year actually, seems to be when we were all given access to tabs. Now this is definitely a fun way to spend a little bit of time and to just really enjoy yourself. Honestly, it's a silly game. It doesn't take itself seriously at all. It's overwhelmingly positive on Steam, and for good reason, honestly. There's secrets to be had as well, secret units to unlock, and they're adding stuff as they go, obviously, early access and all that. And it's like 15 bucks. Can't argue with that. And honestly, it is tactical. It is a very tactical experience. In all honesty, because outside of the goofy sandbox mode that is just endless hours of joy, there is campaigns, and the campaigns stages do get increasingly challenging because every unit occupies a certain cost, and you have to win battles with a certain budget for the campaigns stages, and that gets challenging. You can't just throw down 15 Zeuses and call it a day. You have to be strategic about how many of each unit you get, what kind of units they are, and how can you most effectively maximize the amount of uh, usefulness you get out of your budget. And going up through different time periods and so on, it makes things more difficult. In the ancient period, it's a little easier. Obviously, the first few levels, you just slap down a bunch of clubbers and call it a day. As many as you can generally will do the trick, because that's really all you have access to. And then once you get access to the bone mages, they'll take care of everything for you for the rest of your duration through the ancient campaign, because they're just so overpowered. But it's a game I definitely recommend. It is definitely a game I recommend. I've got a little bit of time on it, not too much. I'm curious to see the finished product for sure. Maybe we'll go back and revisit it again around that time. But bear in mind that this game is processor heavy. It's a processor abuser. Honestly, if you don't have a capable CPU in your machine, you'll notice frame drops. Honestly, the more dudes there are on the screen, the more processing power that's going to require. The more processing power that requires, the more beefy a CPU that you're going to want to have. I'm working with an i5 9600K, so for medium-sized fights, it's fine. But as you see, the more dudes I add down, the more my frame rate drops, and that adds up fairly quickly because there's definitely a lot going on the screen. And the way the characters move is very silly, but it is very much a physics-based game. So you want to bear that in mind when you do unit placement as well. You don't want to place units that are in areas that won't benefit what they are. It's a lot of stuff that really does come into play here, and it is deceivingly strategic for most applications of the campaign and stuff. The graphics do look nice, for what they are. They're cartoony, they're silly, They're easy on the eyes. They're very easy to enjoy. You know, the sound design is good. Actually, it's very good. I don't really talk too much about sound design, but in this game, they did a great job with it. You know, swords sound like swords. Catapults sound like catapults. People sound like people, I guess, kind of. But I do enjoy just the variety of different things. You got everything from cowboys to minotaurs, all the way down to like cavemen with clubs, you know, all the way up to ninjas. You know, there's just all manner of cool things to explore and check out, cool units to check out and stuff. And there's usually some form of like hero unit for a an individual like timeline or grouping of the units, and they tend to be pretty good. Some are better than others. Some are deceivingly good. Some are deceivingly bad, and it all depends. You know, like I believe, for example, the Scarecrow from the Farmer grouping actually beats the King from the Medieval grouping, despite the fact that the King is part of a higher technology grouping of soldiers and units to choose from. Not saying that the King sucks. He's a very good unit, but I just think that the Scarecrow, due to his behavior, is a superior unit. And most of these classes also have some sort of siege weaponry. You know, the very first caveman stage, the siege weaponry is literally just a dude with a big rock. I imagine that's pretty accurate, if I'm being honest. I feel like the cavemen had like particularly strong dudes that would just throw big ass rocks at other dudes when they wanted to wage some kind of tribal war or some shit. It was probably how it went, honestly. But, you know, we weren't there to see it. And never mind what historians are saying, because this game is just giving us a clean visual of exactly how everything went in Warfare. Like, who needs this History Channel anymore? We have this. We got tabs, bro. It's time to enjoy some tabs. Equipment. Historical accuracy to equipment is, like it's in the ballpark. A lot of it. A lot of it is not, but that's, you know, fine. Creative liberties and all that. It is very much an interesting game. Again, I want to reiterate though that a beefier processor will do you a lot of good here. Like I said, I'm working with an i5 9600K, so if you have something in that classification around that kind of performance with 6 cores, then what you're seeing is about, you know, what you'll see with the game for yourself. If you're working with something with 8 or 10 cores or possibly more, you'll probably see better results. You know, something like an i7 or something, or if you're really a baller that's just completely out of control, maybe an i9. You know, the graphics card has a lot less to do here with this particular game. I'm working with a 2080 Super, and it's just not really making that big of a difference, honestly, because the graphics themselves don't necessarily get super good. They just look how they look. You know, it's more of an artistic graphic style than like an intense, really heavy kind of graphic style. It's not intended to, you know, look like Metro Exodus on Ultra with ray tracing turned all the way up. You know, it's intended to look like a kind of a cartoony little battle simulator. And it does a good job of that. And it's very fun and very enjoyable. But I think that that'll do it for that. It's been hot as hell lately, so hopefully wherever you're at, if it's also hot as hell, you're staying cool in the AC if you can. But thank you all for tagging along on this little adventure with me. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. feel free to drop a dislike if you feel I've earned it. Or maybe you want to grief the bell button a little bit. I do appreciate that kind of stuff. Helps me out. And remember to take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I will fucking see you later.